Las Vegas plays host to the final numbered event of the year, and 2 titles are on the line as the Octagon returns to the T-Mobile Arena for UFC 323. In the co-main event, breakout star Joshua Van gets his shot at UFC Gold when he faces reigning Flyweight champion Alexandre Pantoja. And in the main event, Merab Dvalishvili looks to make an historic 4th defence of his Bantamweight belt when he takes on a familiar foe, former champion Petr Yan. It all goes down live this Saturday night on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus. The prelims kick off at 1 a.m. with the main card from 3. Welcome to Fight Week on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus. I'm Adam Catterall. Pleasure as always to be in your company, and it is a pleasure to be in the company of these two. The smiling assassin, there he is. You might have seen his accident out in Qatar. We'll get to that in a minute. The one and only Mr. Nick Peet, and the Hall of Famer, Mr. Michael Bisping. I tell you what, Mike, don't know what it's like over in California, my friend, but it's Baltic here in Great Britain. It is not Qatari weather, let me tell you.
Well, I wouldn't know because I haven't graced outside once because ever since Qatar, I've been sick as a dog. I'm toughening it out for you guys, of course, for TNT Sports because it's UFC 323. Merab Dvalishvili, he wouldn't complain about being sick. No, he jumped headfirst into a frozen lake, so I'm not going to complain. But I don't want to hear your complaints about the weather, mate, because suck it up, put a jacket on, put an extra layer on, stick the fire on, put the heating on, sort it out, man. It's the year 2025.
You could take the lad out the Northwest, but you can't take the Northwest out the lad. That's the proper dad from Clitheroe attitude. Listen, before we get stuck in, my mate Nick Peet, the people have been asking, how is he? They saw his paddle game against Paddy Pimblett out in Qatar, mate. They're concerned about your health. How's the shoulder?
Well, I won't be playing paddle this side of the new year, to put it that way, but just to lay people's minds at ease, yes, I did get injured. Yes, my arm did come out of the socket, and yes, I did end up in Doha A&E. But I smashed the winner past Paddy Pimblett and his coach. That's all you need to know, kids.
That's all you need to know indeed. Let's get into the final numbered card of the year. And over in the States, it's the final pay-per-view on ESPN with the UFC. Because there's a new TV deal kicking in January. And it is a double title fight to finish 2025 and a bit of history as well in the main event because one man going for glory. The 4th title defence, fingers crossed, from Merab Dvalishvili. But will he be upstaged by a man that he's fought before in Petr Yan? The Bantamweight Championship is on the line once again, Mike. God knows how many times we've said it. Well, we said it 3 times already previously this year. We're now up for a 4th.
Yeah, what this man's doing is truly incredible. Defending the belt for a 4th time, making history, lapping the division, taking on all comers. And listen, let's be honest, it's an uphill battle for Petr Yan. If you look at the stats, I mean, Merab was all over him in the first fight, and he took him down, he stopped takedowns. All the numbers are on the side of Merab. Now, it's a rematch, and no 2 fights are the same. But Merab Dvalishvili is only getting better. It's not like he's slowing down. It's not like he's getting old. He's only growing in confidence. The hands are getting better. The cardio is endless. The wrestling's always there. The confidence is growing. So it's a tough one for Petr Yan. But if anyone can pull it off, it is Petr Yan. Remember, he's on a 3-fight win streak now, as opposed to a 3-fight losing streak. But those 3 fights that he lost, they were 2 champions. So there's certainly no shame. And ever since Petr Yan has got back on this win streak, every time he's won, he's called out Merab for the rematch. And I've been in the fighting meetings with him, and every single time he talks about wanting nothing more than a rematch with Merab Dvalishvili. And there's a reason for that, because he believes he can beat him. And when you look at Petr Yan and the footwork and the trips and the boxing and everything that he has, and you consider the fact that he is a former champion himself, it's not like that this is an unimaginable conclusion for Petr Yan to think that he's going to win this fight.
When you look at the stats, though, Nick, from that first fight that they did have in March of 2023, they are heavily favoured towards Merab. I know it's only 3 rounds, but when I look at those strikes and significant strikes, you've got 202 from 401 attempted compared to 87 and 155, 11 takedowns from 49 attempts. Merab was absolutely sensational over that 15-minute period. What does Petr have to do differently in order to get this job done?
He's just got to command the space. He's got to command the geography of the fight. He's got to up his work rate. He's got to make sure that he brings his boxing into play. Mike's right. Merab's boxing has only gotten better since this first fight. But going into the fight, Yan was the betting favourite. You know, even though he was coming into it having lost the belt and on a 2-fight skid himself, he was the betting favourite going into this fight. He's got to take himself back to that place. This was kind of the springboard that built the legacy, this aura of Merab. When he went through Petr Yan, yes, he beat Aldo and he was looking good, but it was Yan as the underdog, taking him down so many times over 15 minutes. That was the moment when everyone went, whoa, wait a minute. Merab can do this at every level. Yan's got to take himself back to where he was. Don't let him be overwhelmed by it. Maybe he didn't expect it. Maybe he didn't expect all the takedown attempts. If you go back and watch that fight, I watched it this morning. In the first round, Merab doesn't score a single takedown until the last 40 seconds when Yan attempts a takedown and Merab actually reverses it. So I think there's a lot of positives for Yan. Mike's right. In his mind, he's still the best in the world. He's got to deliver it on Saturday. Has he got up in task? Absolutely. But he believed he had the antidote the first time around. He's got to deliver it on Saturday.
Mike, since that first fight, obviously Piotr's had 3 consecutive wins. They've all been decisions. Have you noticed the difference in his approach to competition?
There've been decisions, you are correct, but they were dominant victories. Let's be honest. You know, he did manhandle and showed that he was world class, that he was the next level above in terms of skill set. And I think I agree with everything that Nick said. I think another thing to consider as well is that he's got to get off to a fast start. He can't afford to go 1 round down. Yeah, it's a 5-round fight, and Yan certainly has a 5-round style. So that will help him in this matchup. But often, even in those 3 fights that he did win, He finds his groove in fights. He takes his time. He's not exactly fast out of the gate. You might call that a championship style because he's used to doing 5 rounds. In the 3-round fights that he had, he was able to get away with it. And yeah, this is a 5-round. But even still, you don't want to give Merab that mental advantage, because we saw against Corey Sandhagen, we saw against Sean O'Malley. As soon as he feels that he's in control, then he just starts to run away with it and starts quite literally making fun of his opponents and kissing them and waving at Dana and talking and all kinds of stuff. You don't want to let Merab, who is flying high with confidence, stacking up title defenses like crazy, you don't want to let him get an early mental advantage.
And if Merab, Nick, is successful, that'll be the 4th defence in a calendar year. Nobody else has ever done that in UFC history. I think we've already put to bed the greatest bantamweight fighter conversation already this year, but this absolutely rubber stamps it, doesn't it?
Yeah, listen, I think Merab's a law to himself at the moment. It's about how far can he go? Will he go multiple weight divisions, everything else? The fascinating thing about Merab, in a sport that's built on viral moments, in a sport that's absolutely blossomed in a social media period, he's actually got the lowest finish rate of any UFC champion in UFC history. 9% finish rate. Now, usually with fans, let's be honest, on a global scale, we tune in for finishes. We want fight. We want spectacular endings. And Merab has had this incredible ability to win over a global fan base. Yes, because of his personality, but because you can't blink, because it is no nonsense, because you are watching him thinking, how the hell does this human being fight at this pace and this level consistently for 25 minutes? You can't take your eyes off it. But compare that with the guy with the fastest finish rate in championship history, Charles Oliveira, 93.7%. He's only got a 9% finish rate. That's mad. But that's just the way Merab fights. But what we can take from that is, or what Petr Yan can take from it is, I'm getting 25 minutes. I've got to put this on his chin consistently over 25 minutes and do something nobody else has done since Merab became champion. Rock him onto his heels and hate him.
But it has been 25 minutes of entertainment. Last time out against Corey Sandhagen, I mean, come on. I mean, it wasn't for lack of effort. I mean, he was trying to finish Corey Sandhagen. He almost did on a few occasions. Before that, he did get the finish, which is rare, I'll be honest, against Sean O'Malley, one of the biggest stars in the division. And before that, it was Umar Nurmagomedov. And then, all right, it's Cejudo, it's Petr Yan, it's Jose Aldo. You know, when you look at the name value, he's not going up there against Cans. He hasn't had his record padded or anything like that. He's fighting truly the best of the best, legend after legend, and he is trying to finish. But you're right, Nick, it is a fair point.
Well, that's how the main event is shaping up. Let's get stuck into the co-main event, because equally as dominant down in the flyweight division has been Alexandre Pantoja. This could be his 5th successful defence, 9 straight victories. The man is on fire, Mike.
Yeah, and it's kind of a similar situation to the main event with Merab Dvalishvili. I mean, he is taking on all comers and he's taking them out in style. And it really looks like who is going to be the man to challenge him if Joshua Van isn't successful. Now, that's a big if, let's be honest. Joshua Van's on a roll. He's looking phenomenal. He's got beautiful boxing and he's beaten some great opposition. However, the lack of experience against Pantoja does jump off the page a little bit, and maybe some of the competition that he's faced, that also jumps off the page. However, when you get these opportunities, it's a chance to step up your game and show the world that, hey, listen, I was always ready for this, and now he finally gets that moment. Listen, he had that big knockout, beautiful left hook, he's got nice boxing, he's got excellent footwork. Can he stop the takedown? Can he stay off the fence? Can he stop Pantoja from taking him down and taking his back? Because if he can't, he's going to get choked out. If he can, we got a real fight on our hands, because Joshua Van has got some beautiful, crisp boxing. It's breaking it down to its simplest form, but that's what this fight comes down to. Can Joshua Van stay off the fence, keep him off his back, and defend rear naked chokes for dear life? Because he's going to have to.
It's nice for us to be in a position where we can talk about a contender in this particular division that has earned his stripes. I mean, he's had 5 straight victories. Previously, Pantoja's been lapping the division, Nick. We've had to bring in people from other organisations to give him the competition, but Van has really stepped up. He's levelled up his game, and last time out, I was lucky enough to be there, Cateside, watching him against Brandon Royval, and as Mike just pointed out, in the pocket, he was as crisp as they come. He's a young lad, though. His experience going to matter on Saturday night.
Van is just a perfect example of a fighter that takes the opportunity when it comes along. You know, he's had a good run this year. Opportunity came at 3 weeks' notice to fight Royval, takes it with both hands, punches his shot at a title. And what I like about him coming into this fight is the exact opposite of what you guys have both just said. Yes, he is lacking experience. Yes, he is lacking age, but you know, Pantoja's on an 8-fight win streak. All 8 fighters were age 30 and over, veterans, maybe guys who have got a lot more respect for Pantoja than maybe what Joshua Van at 24 years of age, young, dumb, full of ambition. He's going to go in there, hopefully, and throw the absolute kitchen sink at Pantoja. And maybe that is what the challenger needs to beat the champion.
Yeah, and let's remember the last win was over Brandon Royval. And it's not like Royval is some chump. It's not like Royval hasn't got championship experience and beating the likes of Brandon Moreno, which he has. So, I mean, that was a pivotal win, and that's the reason why he's even getting this opportunity in the first place. Regarding the division, though, last week in Doha, we just had the return of Kyoji Horiguchi. You know for a fact there's a reason why they brought him back, one of the best flyweights outside the UFC. We also bumped into Mo Makayev. I was talking to him, and they said he's having a conversation with them. Well, I don't know any details about that whatsoever. However, the fact that they're having a conversation means that maybe Mo Makayev is coming back. They're looking for new challenges. They're looking for new blood. And who knows? Maybe they're some of the guys that Joshua Van gets, because he is a live dog in this fight.
Mike, with Joshua Van, is it just about the stand-up? Have you seen development in any other aspects of his mixed martial arts game?
We're always evolving as fighters with every single fight that we have. And the fact that he beat Brandon Royval shows that he's a well-rounded, skilled, mixed martial artist. However, the one thing that stands out for me is the boxing, right? That doesn't mean that he can't compete in other areas, but the point I was making earlier about Pantoja is that he is an expert, truly an expert at taking people down and taking the back. There's no one better in the UFC right now. Like maybe you could say Islam Makhachev or whatever. It's a pointless conversation, right? Because they're all extremely good. He is a true specialist that's taking out the best people in the world. So that's not advisable. He doesn't even want to play that game. The entire training camp should be about staying off the fence, using the footwork, which he has, and using the boxing, the speed, the hands, the angles, the pivots, everything. Avoid clinching at all costs, because Pantoja has a way of just walking people down, throwing with somewhat reckless abandon, almost kind of take one to land one type thing. And he doesn't really want to land a shot. He just wants to get a hold of you. And once he gets that body lock, people are in a world of trouble.
Well, there you go. That's the co-main event. That's the flyweight title on the line. And there's 2 men that are going to be going just before him that will have a keen eye on that co-main event. I know that we've just been mentioning the return of Horiguchi. We've been speaking about Mo Makayev as potential challenges in 2026 for the flyweight title. But these 2, in Brandon Moreno and Tatsuro Taira, will also have their eyes on this as well. I know it's difficult to flog another Moreno title fight against Pantoja. I get it. However, he has bounced back good recently with 2 fantastic wins against Albazi and Usyk. And if he can come through this, he's going to be back in the conversation, Mike.
Yeah, listen, Brandon Moreno, he's a perennial contender in this division. He's one of the biggest stars, and he's certainly one of the toughest tasks for anyone, right? He is the whole package. He can do it all, and he's very marketable as well. However, he lost his belt. No shame. He lost it to Pantoja. Then he lost a very close fight to Brandon Royval, where he claimed he wasn't quite himself, which, we all have bad nights at the office. But he has come back. He beat Albazi. Albazi is not an easy man to defeat. He has got a tremendously big skill set, and then he beat Steve Usyk. So he's still very much got it, so don't get that twisted. But Tatsuro Taira, he was another guy that was brought in from Japan, that had all the hype, all the pomp and circumstance around him, and he was supposed to be the guy to come in and maybe wreck shop and take over the division, but it didn't quite go as planned. He came to the UFC, was on a beautiful 6-fight win streak, and then he runs in to Brandon Royval, who Joshua Van had beat. So it's kind of like this weird round-robin thing, but yes, he rebounded. He got a good win recently over Park Hyun-sung. He's really good. He's got excellent striking. He's got beautiful jiu-jitsu. He's trained with some truly MMA royalty over in Japan. And he's only getting better. This should be a very interesting fight. And both guys are looking at this as, if I win this, I'm back in the conversation. That's what this entire fight card's all about. Getting back in the conversation. UFC 323. Back in the conversation. If it was old school MMA, like, Validation or Nations Collide, it would have been back in the conversation.
We've got another one of them coming up as well in a minute, haven't we, Henry? But we'll get stuck into it shortly. Just regarding Taira. Nick, as Mike's just pointed out, he did fall short against Royval, so he's had a taste at the very, very top level, falling short there. He has to get through this fight, doesn't he? If he's got ambitions of becoming the UFC champion, he has to get through this fight and get a victory.
Well, Moreno's a tricky customer. But, Taira's only 25 years of age. It's a bit similar to the title fight, really. You've got a veteran, current champion, former champion, been there, done it, got the T-shirt against a rising next generation star. I like Taira. I think he's one thing that we don't see a lot in the flyweight division. He's a natural born finisher. Got a 17-1 pro record with 13 finishes on there. He was 10-0 as an amateur before he even turned pro as well. So there's a lot of experience there for a 25-year-old guy. He was Shooto amateur champion. Then he was a Shooto tournament champion over in Japan before joining the UFC. And yes, he has got a loss, and he has got a loss to Royval. But it was a split decision loss. It was a really close fight. And as you say, he's bounced back, and he's bounced back in absolute style. He's one to watch, kind of like Joshua Van. These two are the future of this division. It's just whether the timing's right now for them to become the new stars of the division.
Now then, let's move on to a fight that took my breath away when it was announced. Henry Cejudo versus Payton Talbott, the king of cringe, taking on the next generation of the bantamweights. What did you make of this one, Mike, when they announced it?
I mean, what is going on with Henry Cejudo? Is he retired? Is he unretired? I mean, he's been doing this and playing this whole game for ages. The man's 38 years old as a bantamweight. Maybe he should be retired. The reality is he's had an unbelievable career, the greatest combat sports athlete of all time. That's what he says. And maybe at one point he was. But sadly, that was a long time ago. Now, I'm not knocking him because the skills that he's got are still there, right? He was an Olympic gold medalist, we know that. He was a 2-weight division champion. He's got really good hands. He's got knockout power. He's got confidence. He's marketable. He can sell a fight. He's not afraid of, doing cringy things, hence the nickname, right? But it does gather attention. Last time out, unfortunately, didn't go his way because of Song Yadong, and it was a double eye poke, I do believe, which is kind of a big situation right now. But he was kind of on the losing end of that fight up until that happened. But again, it was still only the third round, if I'm not mistaken. It was the third round of a fifth round, so anything could have happened. But I think what it showed was that maybe he's starting to slow down a little bit, which is only natural. When you've been wrestling as long as this man has, putting your body through the paces, you can only take so much. So I'm certainly not being disrespectful. And I'm not saying that he can't win this fight, because on the flip side, you've got Payton Talbott, who is young, he's up and coming, he's growing, he's gaining experience, he's got good takedown defense, he's got knockout power. So it's kind of not a changing of the guard fight, because again, that's assuming that Payton Talbott's going to go out there and win this. But on paper, it's almost like giving Payton Talbott the opportunity to get a big win over a fan favourite, over Henry Cejudo. But he's got to earn that. He's got to go out there and fight for it. And that is not going to be easy.
Nick, hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it, when we look at Henry Cejudo? The choice to retire and then come back after being out for 3 years seems to have really backfired. He hasn't been able to get a win since.
No, 0 for 3 since, albeit against quality though. Merab, Aljo, as Mike just pointed out then, Song Yadong in a fight that was stopped because of eye pokes. So, listen, anyone who takes a 3-year, vacation from the sport when at the highest level, when they're a 2-time champion, Olympic gold medalist, the writing was on the wall that he was never going to be the same fighter when he did come back. But unfortunately, he's getting the treatment that all elite prize fighters get when they hang around a little bit too often. You become the stepping stone guy. And we all know Payton Talbott, whatever you want to call it, Dana White privilege or whatever, the people at the UFC loved Payton Talbott. He is a very marketable young man. He's very good looking. He's very well educated, and he puts fights together. He's exciting to watch. They've given him a lottery ticket type opponent. Go and do you. Go and beat Henry Cejudo, and in the new year, we can bill you as a genuine contender in this division. But as Mike's pointed out, Cejudo's probably forgotten more about this game than Payton Talbott knows yet. But at 38, can he live with the pace? Talbott is very, very good. He controls the geography of the octagon incredibly well. He's very big for the weight division. And at 38, is Henry going to be able to close the distance? I'm not too sure.
Dana came out recently and addressed this whole Dana White privilege thing, I think. He was talking about saying, listen, we identify people that we think that are going to do big things. And Payton Talbott was one of them. And he was stopping everyone in his path in sensational fashion. Then they gave him Ryan Barcelos, who was not an easy man to beat, and he failed. He didn't win that fight. He was taken down. He was controlled. He was out jiu-jitsu'd or out grappled on the mat, right? That's what privilege gets you. It gets you a tough opponent. Then you have to fight for your right to remain there and stay entitled, if you will. Then he comes back against Felipe Lima. Again, another really tough opponent. And if I remember rightly, I predicted him to lose that fight. But he didn't. He came back. He was improved. He was better. He learned from his loss and improved as a mixed martial artist. This is a really good fight for both men. Again, for Payton Talbott, it's a huge opportunity to get a win over a legend in the sport. And for Henry Cejudo, this is an opportunity to say, look, listen, I'm still here, guys. Yeah, I'm 38 years old. Yeah, I'm an old dog in this game, but I'm still coming for that gold.
I think it's an absolutely fantastic fight, and I can't agree with it anything more than what both of you have just said. I thought Petr Talbott leveled up immensely last time out. Let's see if Henry's still got it. It's going to be an absolute firecracker. Very similar to the fight that kicks off the main card, because you've got a guy there, the old guard, the former champion, scratching around for a win at the moment. Bit frustrating for Jan Błachowicz, taking on Bogdan Guskov, who has been frightening. It's old generation versus new generation in the light heavyweight division, Mike.
Yeah, Jan Błachowicz, been around for a long time. We love this guy, Mr. Polish Power himself. He was the champion. He's had loads of knockouts. He had a close fight with Alex Pereira, which, arguably could have gone his way, but it didn't. And now he goes up again. And it's like Henry Cejudo's fight, a new generation in Bogdan Guskov, a guy that's been around for a little bit. He's on a 4-fight win streak. Last time out, he got a good win over Nikita Krylov, knocked him out in the very first round. Now, that is not an easy thing to do. 18 wins, 15 knockouts, 3 submissions. The man has got a 100% finishing rate. But good luck doing that to Jan Błachowicz.
We see this quite a lot, don't we, Nick? When people are doing extremely well outside of the UFC, they get their opportunity, they come in, and they fall short on debut. And that's what Guskov did. And then all of a sudden, they manage to get their feet underneath them and they go on a bit of a tear. And that's where he's currently at right now. And he's been rewarded with a super fight. Yeah,
listen, he's on a 4-fight tear. And he looked absolutely phenomenal in Abu Dhabi in the summer when he nailed Nikita Krylov. And he deserves this opportunity. Listen, it's kind of like the Henry Cejudo situation. You've got a former champion, Błachowicz, who's failed to win in his last 3, albeit against some of the top guys in the division. Now he's got to defend his spot. He's got to defend it against a rising star who's number 11 in the division. But Guskov's made from stern stuff, man. I know Yan is tough as anything, but Guskov, born in Uzbekistan, trained to be a welder, then becomes a bouncer, then he turns to kickboxing. This guy knows no fear. He's just made for this game. But inside that octagon, as Mike's just pointed out, he puts people away. This is a very dangerous fight for Yan Błachowicz. But you know what? Yan needs this level of fight because, like Cejudo, he needs to know, have I still got it? Have I still got it in here? And he'll find out on Saturday if he hasn't.
Yeah, and that's a fair question to ask, but we've got to remember, last fight that he had was against Carlos Solberg, who we don't know what's going on, right? We know Pereira's campaigning to fight John Jones at the White House, and maybe that happens, maybe it doesn't. We don't know. If Pereira defends the belt at light heavyweight, it's got to be Carlos Solberg next. And Yan Błachowicz pushed Carlos Solberg to the absolute limit,
London,
and in his mind, won that fight. It was a close fight. You could make an argument. I did remember on the night thinking Carlos took it, just edged it ever so slightly. But the fact that at 42 years old, he's still pushing, who is now probably the number one contender, to his absolute limit, it tells me there's still plenty of fight left in Yan Błachowicz.
Yeah. That's how your main card shaping up for UFC 323. And do you know something? That there might be fireworks there in the fight that we've just been speaking about. There might be some distance fights in there as well. We guarantee the fireworks on the prelims. Mike, I've seen your pick. It's an absolute worldie. Go for it.
I mean, it's Terence McKinney versus Chris Duncan. I'm just trying to look at the stats here to get it right. 17-7 is the record of Terence McKinney, okay? 17 wins, all finishes. 7 losses, all finishes. This man, and I will go, most of them, there's a 1 next to him. Doesn't matter whether it's a win or a lose. He is literally a car crash. He just collides with whoever it is. He goes forward, he's super athletic, he's got punching power, he's got wrestling ability, but whatever happens, he just goes and meets his opponent. He either destroys them or he ends up crumpled up in the floor in a knockout of the year contender. The man is all out violence. And guess what? So is Chris, the problem, Duncan, okay? Yeah, he can wrestle and all that good stuff, and he's got skills. He's training at American top team these days. He used to be the fastest sheep shearer in Scotland, The man's all out action. But again, he's kill or be killed. And when you see Chris Duncan, some fights, he gets a little bit rocked, but then he comes back and he finds the punch. He knocks him out unconscious. Do not miss this fight. Terence McKinney versus Chris Duncan is must-see TV.
It absolutely is. I don't know whether you'd agree with this, Mike. They are all action and it is fireworks everywhere. They do look like, the pair of them, that they are slightly refining their styles in their last couple, especially Terence. He looked really good last time out.
Hey, I love to see that. It's great. You know what I mean? Oh, look at this guy. He's evolving. Don't in this fight. Don't evolve. I don't want to see that. Go back in time. Be a relic. Be a throwback. Okay? Go out there. Do what you always do. Because, listen, Terence McKinney, maybe some people might have lost a job because he lost a few along the way and they were quick finishes. But it's when you look at the victories as well. I mean, my word, they are just insane. Let me just scroll down here real quick because they come fast. 20 seconds. He got knocked out in 30 seconds. He won in 1 minute 25. He lost in 1 minute and 7 seconds. It's very quick. Whatever's going to happen, the kill or be killed, it literally is don't blink, because if you go to the toilet, if you go make a brew, if you go crack the lid off a beer or whatever it is, you're like, what happened? Oh, he's in the hospital. He's in an ambulance on his way to the hospital, or he's still unconscious. Either him or is his opponent. So yeah, I love watching both these guys fight.
I think Dan has already written the checks for the bonuses. It's going to be a good one. Nick, what are you going for, mate?
Well, I'm going to go women's flyweight division. Macy Barber versus Karine Silva. Purely because 2 reasons. Karine Silva is an absolute unicorn. 19 wins, 17 finishes in women's MMA is phenomenal. She looks like an absolute monster. She's on a real tear. She's taken to the UFC now. She's come through on Dana White's Contender Series. She's dropped into the main show, and she looks like a finishing machine. And on the flip side of that, you've got Macy Barber, who was in the most phenomenal form. 6-fight win streak, looking fantastic, looking like she's going to get to the promised land of a title shot. That was 20 months ago. We haven't seen her. Why? Because she was stuck in hospital. She had pneumonia, strep throat, and staph all at once. Was in serious condition in hospital for like 9 or 10 days, fighting for her life. Thank goodness she's come through that now. But of course, she's had to take an awful long time to rebuild her body, rehabilitate, and get back to 100%. I don't know where Macy Barber's at right now because it's been that long from what she's been with. But my goodness, this is what the UFC does. This is what the toughest fighting arena in prize fighting does. What a welcome back for her. Silva is a monster. Fantastic fight. Do not miss that either.
Yeah. A couple of other fights that I just want to highlight. We've got Grant Dawson taking on Manuel Torres. I mean, Grant Dawson's one of the most underrated fighters maybe in the UFC. He's doing great guns at the moment, Mike. Looking really, really good. And I think this should be a great feature prelim.
Yeah, Grant Dawson, I mean, the fact that this guy isn't ranked higher is insane, to be quite frank, because the skill that he has, the wrestling ability, he takes people down, he's good at finishing. But also, I just want to highlight another one. Nazim Sadikov, Faraz Ziam. Right? That's a mental fight as well. Sadikov last time in Baku looked ridiculous, and Faraz Ziam is never in a boring fight. Remember in Paris when he had that knockout of Matt Favola? It was a disgusting knockout. So there's some tasty fights. And we got Bruno Ferreira versus Marvin Vettori on there as well.
Yeah. And some Barbosa's fighting Jalen Taylor on the prelims.
on the early prelims. That's a crazy fight.
Oh my goodness. What a night.
Yep.
Great card.
There you go.
It should be an absolute cracker. There you go. That's the final numbered card of 2025. UFC 323 set to be an absolute cracking finale to a wonderful 12 months. 2 titles are on the line in Las Vegas as reigning champion Alexandre Pantoja looks to end the fairy tale year of Joshua Van and retain the flyweight belt. Merab Dvalishvili puts his bantamweight title on the line once again and make it 4 defences in 2025 when he takes on former champion Petr Yan. It all goes down live Saturday night on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus. The prelims kick off from 1 a.m. with the main card from 3. Don't miss it.